Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started really quick. And I'm going to go very quickly through a lot of the animations, just giving you feedback to let you know kind of what the grade was, no, why the grade was what it was, and what could be improved in terms of feedback. So in this one, the thing I noticed, one, it's very short, so that's not really that big of a deal. Two, you kind of have your squash and stretch flip-flopping here, so when looking at the way you get the rig to work. You kind of make it stretch there and kind of seems to squash there, but I get the impression that you're rotating the wrong controls to to do it the way you need to. So if you actually need the ball to rotate by itself, you rotate this blue controller, and so that's how. Wait, yeah, it's the red controller, and that way you don't have to flip flop the squash and stretch controller. So um, that along with the arcs. So if I track the ball, well, that's not what I wanted. I don't necessarily know how you did this one actually. Because the rig is still up here. So that one's one that's I'm a little confused on exactly what's happening here. And how you managed to do that, I guess. Anyway, so that's but the arcs on this, you'll see it kind of goes straight down and then kind of slows down before it gets to the ground and kind of slows back up and back down. So this ball, this first ball, I think you just need to wipe the animation out on that, kind of give it a little bit more attention. This one, I think the flip floppiness, basically just take the rotation off of this ball and do all of your rotation with this to get the ball sliding. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this. I just opened that one up in Maya because there wasn't a video file for that. So Jacob, overall this one looks really good. I'll be honest, the only thing that I really notice on it is some of these last few bounces feel a touch, like it doesn't feel like it's decreasing in height of bounce appropriately. Like it's barely decreasing in how high it bounces. And then on this last one, it kind of loses a lot of energy on this last bounce. I'm talking about the ball in the back, by the way. The other thing I notice is, well, one is I think I've taken this into Premiere, but when you exported it out, you exported it interlaced, and so that's why you're getting this happening. And it's like every so many frames we're getting that. The only other thing is like how fast this front ball is rolling, and I think it's rolling like it's rotating faster than it's actually moving forward. So I think just adjusting that, it feels like it's kind of sliding on the ground. Like it's or it's the opposite of sliding. It's like it's twisting without moving forward. Like there's no friction on the ground. Jessica. So switch yours here. So I think the second ball falls pretty good, but then as it twists around, it does feel like it's kind of sliding around on the ground too. So it never feels like it's stationary on the bottom. This first one has a kind of a, like it's falling straight down, but then it kind of jumps forward. And then like when I scrub it forward, it feels okay. But so I think what you were going for was this idea is it's going to jump instead of roll. And so that's why we get this feeling is like it's moving straight down. Some other force has to cause it to go forward here. It's not bouncing because it had some force imparted upon it, making it go that way. So that's why this feels like it's alive. Also, it kind of hesitates here. But then other parts of it doesn't feel quite as alive. And then like as it's coming back down here, it kind of hesitates right there before it goes forward. So a lot of this is just cleaning up that, but I think the biggest thing is sort of the sliding around that I kind of notice. I like the little foreshadowing of the shadow before it falls. Um, and some of the little jumps right at the end actually look really good. And this little guy here. Yeah, some of those look pretty good. Amanda. Oh, this is the pendulum. Never mind. Chris. Okay. Um, so this is particularly slow, especially this drop of the ball here. It feels like it just sort of floats down. And so if something has a lot of weight to it, it actually falls. It doesn't fall faster, but it feels like it falls harder, right? And this feels like it just kind of floats down and softens in there. And also, I get the impression that really you've just set the keyframes and you haven't actually adjusted the tangents much at all. Because this ball is slowing down as it comes down toward the ground. Let me show you. Inside of QuickTime, watch as the ball approaches the ground. See how the distance it travels starts getting smaller? See that? And so that only, like, that can't happen as you're falling. That only implies that somehow some other force is slowing it down. Because otherwise I mean, we don't do that. We don't slow down before we hit the ground. And slowing down from a fall is not a conscious ability. So it feels like some other force is applying to it. And usually I just see that when people just haven't adjusted the tangents at all. And that was kind of the point of this exercise. I'm sorry. Is this somebody texting me? So we'll just need to keep the, keep a little bit more attention to the curves because it doesn't really feel like there's been much attention paid to the curves in this one. Okay, Joe. Okay, let me pause this here. Okay, so we're back in here in this now. Who are we looking at here? It is Joseph. So when I open this, I actually am not getting any video to play. And then I look at the Maya file, and I'm not really getting it to play there either, I don't think. So that's something we can kind of look at. I'll wait until that opens up and we'll look at it. Let's open up this one. This is Nick. This one's actually really good, especially with the bounces. So good work there. The only thing I'd say is it feels a little bit like the little ball hesitates right before it hits the wall here. And then after it does, it feels like it rolls a little too fast off the wall. Or maybe a little too far for the amount of energy that would have been transferred from there. So it feels like something sort of punches it and knocks it that way. And also you get a little bit of sliding on the ball roll as this one starts to roll back. And you get a little bit on this one as well. So just a little bit of that, like the ball is not spinning at the right pace for the fact that it is moving. Let's open back up. Oh, okay, yeah. So that was right. So I don't remember what the grade was on this, but I'm sure I opened it up and saw this and based the grade on this project. So I don't know what happened with the Play Blast and why it didn't work. But yeah. So you get kind of the... actually, I feel like you could see part of the problem with this one just from looking at your curves, which is that it eases in here, it slows in here, and then slows back out. Also stuff like this point here, like it's not centered between those two bounces, right? I think that, and just overall, this one feels a little bit more like a balloon, and so I don't know if that's what you're going for. But it feels pretty soft, but it kind of slams down pretty hard and fast, and then these little bounces are really slow. So I think if this is going for something heavy, which I would get because it slams down really fast, then these should just be really like almost one frame apart. It's almost like a vibration once it hits the ground. So let's look at the tangents here on these. Let's look at it on this guy first. And you can see that if I open up my graph editor, like your translate Y, it's really just this stuff here, which is another instance of like we really do have to go in here and adjust the tangents to get good results. So you'll see what's happening to the curve as I do this. And even though the timing probably still needs a little bit of work, just this in and of itself, I feel like that kind of bounces a little bit more. I think this one's weird to me, is like where it's in the center here, so I'd probably go in here with this one. That's probably your translate Y. There we go. And you see how that kind of jumps forward a little faster than the rest of it does? So just by doing something like that, I don't know. So we could do a little bit like that. I don't know why that's acting like that. There we go. And then I would also do that. Okay. And so that's, going to get you a little bit of a better result. But again, this one's still bouncing a little slow unless it's kind of a balloon. This one slams down, but then the bounces are super slow. So let's go and close that. Okay, Matthew. Yeah, that came out really good. This bounce looks great. I feel like I feel like it would have a touch more roll on it when it was bouncing, but maybe not much. And I think this roll actually looks really good here. Kind of get a little bit of a slip right there at the end. See that? That's pretty tiny. And then that bounce looks great there. The roll feels kind of odd to me. Like it feels like it's slow, like it's sliding a little bit on the ground. But it may be the perspective. It may be rolling toward me, and we may not have, like it may not feel like it's foreshortening or getting bigger as it comes toward me just because of the way the camera is set up or something. Overall, though, this is really good. Great work on the bounces on that. Greg. Open with QuickTime. Okay, if we watch this one through, so I think it looks to me like you maybe have adjusted your tangents. They need to be a little bit sharper. So let's open that up and see if that's the case. Maybe not. Because this is your translate Y. I'm guessing that's your up and down. And so you've gotten the curves there, and you actually set more keys to try to fix it. But you could pretty much just delete those, and then again, just breaking these. I'll just do this and so we can see the results. I'm sure this isn't that much fun to watch, but you get the idea. So now let's watch that soccer ball bounce. Okay, so now it's bouncing a little bit better. It just needs to hit the ground and roll a little bit better. See how it kind of speeds up right through here? And so the same with the tennis ball. Is this kind of doing the same thing? Like the tangents are broken, so it's kind of easing out of this as it goes back up. And so it really just needs to be tweaked. You can add more keyframes to try to get that, but it really is still you're still gonna get that in these transitional frames right through here. And so that's what I was feeling, and seriously, just breaking it like that. I have to adjust this to get the right feel to it. Just something like that, and you'll see within that first one feels better than the rest of them. Okay, don't save. Gavin, let's see. Okay, this one actually looks pretty good. You got some good bounce here. Looks like you've really done a pretty good job on your arcs. So here's the thing. As the ball is squashing and stretching right here, right now you have it kind of stretching. Let's do red so we can see it. It's kind of stretching straight up and down this way. But the ball is bouncing sort of in this arc. So what I have a tendency to do is with my ball squash and stretch, I usually sort of take into account the arc. And so if this is the arc that the ball is traveling, I try to squash it and stretch it along that arc. Okay? And so that will help a little bit with some of this, but otherwise that's feeling pretty good. You got a little bit of weirdness right here at the end. Some stuff speeding up. I feel like this little ball like hits the ground, rolls a little bit, and then just darts forward a little bit too fast right there. So you can go look at your curves, and I bet what you'll have is the curve will be doing something like this, and then it'll do that, and then stop. And so it's just that, like, keeping that more consistent, like this roll off of a stop is really where that's at. It's just a little inconsistency. The other thing is the ball bounces in place here without rolling for a while, and that feels neat for like a balloon where it doesn't have enough mass to cause enough friction to make it roll. It's just kind of like bouncing, and but it's not moving forward enough to fast enough to make it roll. But then it starts rolling here, so I think it needs to be rolling during these bounces as well. So that's all on that one. Taylor. This is kind of small. So this one looks really good. Only a couple of little notes I have is right there, the little ball kind of slides a little bit as it's stopped. And I feel like that's happening here too. It sort of rolls and then like sort of slide, the green one kind of slides right through there before. So I feel like that last little section, like you always want to make sure that it looks like the same part of the ball is contacting the ground, and that friction is what's causing it to roll, not like if not, it looks like it slides or it looks like it's spinning too fast. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. It feels about like we're halfway through. Now let's go through one more first, and then I'll go. That way we can divide it up pretty evenly. So Elizabeth. Okay. So the little ball, the bounces feel a little bit better on it. Like it feels like they kind of have the tangents broken on them. It feels a little floaty right here toward the end, like those bounces take too long. And then it seems like I'm calling it little ball, it's the background ball. And then it kind of feels like it gets an extra little burst of energy that knocks it that far forward. So try to just make sure your energy is feeling consistent. The ball in the front is doing that thing where it feels like it's slowing down right before it hits the ground, and then speeding up right through there, and then slowing down right as it gets there. It's almost like that one's backwards. Like if I were to look at your tangents, it almost feels like backwards. So yeah, check that one and see. But that's just kind of my initial reaction to that. So Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and then I'll finish up the rest of it in the next video.